On September 10th, 1978, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza became the site of one of Formula One's most devastating disasters. Ronnie Peterson was competing in what would tragically become his final race. Nicknamed the SuperSwede, Peterson has spent the decade carving out a reputation as one of the fastest drivers on the grid, admired for his aggressive, yet precise racing style. But on that day in Monza, a chaotic start and a horrific crash would change everything. But what exactly happened in those final moments of his life? Let's talk about it. But first, here's a quick message from today's sponsor. So I am back again with one of my favourite sponsors, HelloFresh. If you've been following this channel for a while, you will know that I have used HelloFresh for years. I really don't take on many sponsors, but happily will for companies I like and use myself, and HelloFresh is one of them. Their menus are always ever changing, meaning I never get bored, and they support small family run farms across the world by sourcing their meat directly from them. Their meals are easy to make with simple to follow instructions, and for tonight's dinner, I made ginger beef stir fry which took around 20 minutes to make. I suck at presentation, but believe me, it tasted great. Right now, they're giving all their subscribers in the US free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Click the link in the description or use my code and get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. That's one breakfast item per box while subscription is active if you're in the US. Thank you again for HelloFresh for supporting this video. Please check them out below as it also supports me. But now, let's get back into today's topic. Ronnie Peterson was born on February the 14th, 1944 in Örebro, Sweden. From an early age, Peterson was immersed in the world of racing, spending countless hours with his father in the garage and at local racetracks. According to many who grew up with him, his passion for racing was evident from childhood. He would often tear through the backyard in a small tractor his father helped build. As Ronnie grew older, he transitioned from makeshift vehicles to competitive racing, starting with mopeds, before moving on to karting. School never held much interest for Peterson, and he was known to be a poor student. Whilst he briefly tried football and running, these sports never captivated him the way racing did. After completing the 9th grade, he left school and began working at a Renault dealership, but his true calling remained on the track. Peterson quickly established himself as one of the dominant forces in karting, winning multiple local and national titles. By 1966, he took the next step in his racing career, entering his first Formula 3 race in a car he built with his father. Over the following 4 years, he secured 28 victories and 2 championship titles, gaining widespread recognition in the European racing scene. Whilst competing, he met his future wife, Barbara Edwardson, and the two fell in love and became inseparable. She was often seen in the pits assisting his team with a huge smile on her face. His raw talent and aggressive driving style caught the attention of Formula One teams, setting the stage for the next phase of his career. This was Formula One. In 1970, Ronnie Peterson moved to England to prepare for his Formula One debut, driving a March 701 for the privateer Antique Automobiles racing team. He impressed with a 7th place finish at the Monaco Grand Prix. This led to a contract with the March racing team in 1971, and he secured 5 second place finishes and finished runner-up in the World Championship behind racing legend Jackie Stewart. March struggled in 1972, limiting Peterson's success. In 1973 he joined Lotus, alongside reigning champion Emerson Fittipaldi, claiming his first Grand Prix win in France, and finishing 3rd overall with 4 victories. When Fittipaldi left for McLaren in 1974, Peterson became the Lotus lead driver. The uncompetitive Lotus 76 forced a return to the 1872, and despite 3 wins, reliability issues cost him the title. The team continued to struggle, but outside of the track, Ronnie was doing good. He married Barbara Edwardson and had their first child. He then left Lotus in 1976. In 1977, Peterson moved to Tyrrell, driving the innovative but flawed 6-wheeled P34B, achieving only 1 podium in Belgium. Around this time, Lotus was having a possible resurgence, so he returned to the team in 1978 as Mario Andretti's teammate. Though restricted by team orders, he won 2 races and finished 2nd in the championship. By season's end, he had secured a 1979 deal with McLaren, aiming for the number 1 spot. However, fate had other plans. The 1978 Italian Grand Prix at Monza was set to be a crucial race in the championship, with Lotus teammates Mario Andretti and Ronnie Peterson leading the standings. Monza, a historic circuit known for its long straights and tight chicanes, demanded high speeds and precision, but it also had a reputation for dangerous starts due to its narrow first corner. Peterson's race was compromised before it even began. During the morning warm-up, he crashed his Lotus 79, forcing him to switch to the older Lotus 78, which was less competitive and harder to control. Starting from the third row, he was positioned in the midfield, a dangerous place when heading into Monza's first corner. Confusion at the start saw the green light illuminated before all cars were properly lined up, meaning the ones at the back were still rolling, leading them to get a better start than the racers at the front. This caused Peterson to have a poor start. The entire field surged forward, creating a densely packed group of cars heading into the first corner at speeds exceeding 155 miles per hour. Whilst approaching, Riccardo Patrese's car made contact with James Hunt's McLaren. This impact sent Hunt's car spinning into Ronnie Peterson's Lotus. Ronnie was sent straight into the barriers on the right hand side of the track, severely damaging its front end. Another car, driven by Vittorio Brambilla from the Surtees team, then crashed into Peterson, which led his Lotus to set on fire. Several drivers, including James Hunt, rushed to the burning wreckage and managed to pull Peterson from the car before the flames fully engulfed it. He was conscious but in severe pain, with multiple fractures in both legs. Hunt didn't allow Peterson to look down at his legs to spare him any further distress. Despite the severity of his injuries, there were no immediate signs that his life was in danger. People were more concerned about Brambilla, who was unconscious in his car. However, the handling of the aftermath was chaotic. Italian police prevented medical personnel from reaching the scene quickly, forming a barrier around the crash site. Peterson remained on the track for nearly 18 minutes before finally being transported to a hospital in Milan. Once he got to the hospital, they found that he had 27 fractures in his legs, and he was moved to the intensive care unit so surgeons could operate. Sadly, complications arose. Overnight, he developed a fat embolism, a condition where fat enters the bloodstream after a fracture, leading to kidney failure. His condition deteriorated rapidly, and on the morning of September the 11th, 1978, Ronnie Peterson passed away. Following the tragic disaster at the Monza Grand Prix, an investigation was launched to determine the causes and assign responsibility for the incident that led to Ronnie Peterson's death. Many, including James Hunt, blamed Italian driver Riccardo Patrese and his reckless driving style. This led to Patrese and the race director Gianni Restilli to face manslaughter charges. Patrese, accused of initiating the chain reaction that resulted in the fatal crash, and Restilli, accused of mishandling the race start. However, in October of 1981, a court acquitted both men, concluding that Patrese's driving style did not directly cause the accident. The need for better medical organisation in F1 became evident after Peterson's crash. In response, Professor Sid Watkins, backed by Niki Lauda and Jackie Stewart, implemented a crucial reform, a medical car following the field on the opening lap to ensure immediate assistance. The policy was introduced at the 1978 US Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. By 1999, its effectiveness was clear, as Michael Schumacher received rapid medical attention after his crash at Silverstone. It was also implemented that firemen should be around to assist when a driver crashes, rather than other racers having to help pull their fellow drivers from wreckages. Moreover, it became evident that the specific issues with the Monza circuit had contributed to the accident. In response, they applied pressure on Monza authorities to implement safety improvements. As an initial measure, barriers were repositioned and the pit area was redesigned. Over time, Monza gradually evolved into a safer circuit and is still a fan favourite to this day. Ronnie Peterson is widely regarded as one of the greatest drivers to never win an F1 title. James Hunt never forgave Patrese and always blamed him for the death of Ronnie Peterson, but in retrospect, many do not. Sadly, the tragedy doesn't end there though. His widow, Barbara Edwardson, took her own life in 1987, never getting over her husband's death. She was then buried next to Ronnie. May they both rest in peace. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, and if you appreciate my work, subscribe, and if you want to go the extra step to support the channel, maybe consider becoming a member. There is no doubt in my mind that if Ronnie Peterson carried on racing, he would have went down as one of the best to ever do it, but sadly we never saw how great he would have been. Let me know what you think about this case in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching.